Okay, rounding. Let's go. Not too bad. Alright, you're rounding. And the nice thing is these rules you're probably familiar with. So the first rule, numbers 0 to 4, they don't round. So if you were using like a 3 in terms of rounding, it would not round the number that's in question. Just leave it alone. If you're using a number 5 through 9 to round up another number, it does round up, and it's only by 1, and that's it. That's your main rounding rules. Now the question becomes, where are you rounding? Are you rounding to the left of the decimal, or are you rounding to the right? And that does make a difference. So rule 3 is really where you're rounding. If this is the decimal, I'll make it nice and big, and you're out here, and you're playing the rounding game using these numbers 0 to 4 and 5 through 9. If you're out here, when you're done rounding, you have to erase. Erase after rounding. Because if you don't erase those, you're going to add significant digits to your answer, and that's going to cause your answer to be wrong. Don't worry, I'll show you an example of stuff like this. The next part would be, okay, well, what if I'm playing this rounding game over to the left of the decimal? Now these you do not erase, because if you do, your answer is going to be so far off. What you do is you turn these to 0. Turn to 0 after rounding. And honestly, this is the problem for most students. They make mistakes here. This you guys have seen forever. That's usually not a problem. This is what causes students problems. When it comes time to taking your answer from there and rounding it off correctly to the proper number of significant digits. Okay. Let's just take a peek. Let's just do a couple of these. I'm going to change the number of significant digits I want in the final answer for these, so it's not all going to be the same. So like number 1, let's say in your calculator you have 2.567. Let's say you were messing with the measurement of mass. And now the question, now you realize, oh shoot, I only want 3 sigs. So let's round to 3 significant digits as your so-called final answer. When you do that, you have to start with significant digits, and you always look to the left. So here is the first significant digit that you will need for your final answer, because our goal is to get 3. And once I see how many I need, I go back to the answer that's in the calculator and identify the 3 sigs I need to keep. 1, 2, 3. There they are. I need those 3. And now comes this rounding game. That's the one I have to use. I'm going to use this 7 and round it off, which means I'm going to play with this 6 to get the final answer. Okay, so the first thing I do is I look, 7. Okay, obviously he's here. I'm going to bump up the number in question, which is always the one next to it. You probably know that. I'm going to bump this thing up. 6 goes up to 7. My final answer is going to look like this. 2.57. And then comes this erase or turn to 0 rule. You are off to the right side of the decimal. You're playing the game over here. Boy, you better erase him when you're done. And so you would just have that. He's gone. And there's your final answer. Don't do this. Don't say, oh, hey, it's 2.57, and I'm using him, and then I'm going to turn to a 0 when I'm done. Now your answer is wrong. There's 4 sigs there. You only get 3. It has to be that. So don't start adding extra numbers. Be careful with the 0. All right, let's play the rounding game when you're playing to the left of the decimal, and we'll see what we get. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this. All right, number 2. So let's grab something like this. 10, 8, 9. Let's say it's meters. Oh shoot. Let's go to 3 sigs again. That's what I need my final answer in. And here's how I would do this. I'm going to start on the left. I'm looking for numbers 1 through 9. And there he is. There's the first of my 3 significant digits. So I identify him as the first one. Here comes the second significant digit. Here comes the third. Now I've got my 3. I'm going to play my rounding game with that 9. Now if you notice, they don't put the decimal in these things. You're at a higher level now where they don't have to show you the decimal. Plus if they did and put a 0 behind it, they've got more significant digits than they need. Okay? Just like this. That thing, if you type in 1089, it's not going to show you a decimal. They don't have to. You're supposed to know where it's at. Okay, rounding 9 here. Next guy goes up by 1. So my final answer is going to look like this. This guy is unchanged. Here's my comma. I need him. This is bumped up to a 9 because this is in this range. Here's the turn to 0. You're playing the rounding game to the left of the decimal. When you're done using him, you have to turn it to a 0. Because if you look at this, my 3 significant digits, 1, 2, 3, this one is not significant, but I need to put the 0 there because 1090 is not the same as 109. Because a lot of students will get rid of this 0. They'll think, okay, well, I used him for rounding, now I'm going to get rid of him. Well, 109 is nowhere near 1090. Don't erase them if it's to the left of the decimal. That's it really for rules. I think this one's the tricky one. Don't erase him. All right, let's do this. Let me just throw 2 more examples on the board. You quickly round them off, and then I'll show you my answers. So let's do this. Let's go 3, 4. Okay. I'm going to let you take over. Let's see. How about we do 257.12. Let's say it's hectograms. All right, I would like this answer turned into 2 sigs. Go ahead and get your answer for that. I'm going to make up number 4. Number 4, switch that thing into 3 sigs. take a look at number 3. So I need this thing in 2 sigs. I'm going to start way over here. I'm going to identify the 2. So I have to have those 2 in the end. Always go over the extra spot because we're rounding. There. I'm going to use this 7. I noticed 2 things. 1, the 7 puts me in this range. It needs to go up by 1. Second thing I always keep track of is where am I according to the decimal. I am to the left, which means, boy, you better turn that thing to 0 when you're done. 7 bumps the 5 up to a 6. So here's my answer. He's been rounded up. He's to the left of the decimal. I'm going to turn him into a 0. I'm going to put in my unit. 260, and that is it. These suckers, they're so far over, they're not that 1 digit over, and so those guys are always erased. Number 4, if this was sitting in my calculator, and according to the significant digit rules, I had to round this thing to only 3 sigs. Again, I'm going to find that number 1 through 9. There's the first significant digit. This will be my second. This guy's my third. There he is. That's the guy I have to use. 2 things I notice. I am in this range now, and I am to the left of, oh man, I gave you 2 to the left of the decimal. Okay, we have an extra one. Hang on. We have a 5th one. I just want to make sure you got these. All right, so the 2 does not change the 1. I'm to the left of the decimal. I'm going to turn this sucker to a 0 when I'm done. And don't forget the unit. 1010. Okay, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I have to give you one where we're on the other side of the decimal. Dang it. All right, quickly, hurry. Let's go. Let's do this. 0, 5, 4, 2, 4. Let's say it's milligrams. And now I want 2 sigs. All right, quickly change that. 2 sigs. Okay, 2 sigs. I don't see a number out here. Hey, that's 0. That is not a significant digit. According to the rules I showed you last week, this is not a significant digit. So that's not going to be the first of my 2. The 5, there's the first significant digit. So he would be the first one. Here's the second one. I'm always going to go over one more, which is in this case going to be that 2. And then again, I noticed 2 things. First of all, it's one of these. I'm not going to round it, so I'm not going to change this 4. And then the next thing I notice, I'm playing the game to the right of the decimal, which means when I'm done, he's gone. So my answer, 0, 5. Unchanged. Erase, erase. Done. Don't turn them to zeros. There's my answer. Questions? That's rounding. It is not part of your assessment that's due Monday. It's just something you have to do every single time you grab one of those, because you have to turn your answers into the proper number of significant digits. Last part for topic 2. And again, I just want to polish your skills and make sure you're on the same page as I am. And that last topic is good old scientific notation. Later on, when we get to some later topics, you will have to use scientific notation. We're going to have numbers so large or so small, you're going to have 1,000,000 zeros that you need to get rid of. Because again, you're playing the significant digit game. Rules, there's really not a whole lot of rules to begin with. The first rule is you have to set up scientific notation where you have a number that is 1 through 9 in that spot, followed by the decimal. So that's rule number 1. You only get one digit out in front of the decimal, and that one digit has got to be a number 1 through 9. You cannot put a 0 there. Then the decimal. These spots that are sitting over here, they're for you to use to get the proper number of SIGs in your final answer. So I don't know. I don't know how many of those I'll need. It depends on the problem that you were performing. So maybe, see, used for SIGs. I'll show you an example of one of those. The key is you only get one number to the left of the decimal. A lot of students try to put 2 or 3. Don't do it. Some students put a 0 there. Don't do it. It has to be a number 1 through 9. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. It depends on what I want in the end in terms of SIGs. Rule number 2. If the decimal is going to the left, let's see, so moving decimal to the left, you're going to create a power of 10 that's positive. Positive. And then the opposite shows up. If you have to move the decimal because you have a bunch of zeros to the right, then you have to throw in the negative. Negative. And it's negative powers of 10. Fourth and final rule, really symbol. The symbol keeps changing over the years that I've been teaching this. Seems to be pretty consistent now using a capital E. It used to be this, which is fine. Okay, hey, that positive or that negative goes right here. That's where the positive and negative show up. There's going to be some number here which tells you how many spots the decimal was moved. Example, let's say you had this nasty number sitting in the calculator, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4, 2. We'll just do it that way. If I had that thing in my calculator, or an answer when I'm done, and then I realize, oh crap, you know something? I only get 3 significant digits in my answer when I'm done. I have to take this, turn it to 3 sigs, move the decimal, show that I did move the decimal, and that I move it left or right using a positive or negative number. So let me put over here 3 sigs, and I'll show you how that ends up in the end. When you shift the decimal to the left, so I'm going to head this way, the first thing you look for is the very last number 1 through 9. So what you have to do mentally is you grab that decimal, and what you do is you try to find the very last number 1 through 9, which is that 7. So I know that this decimal has to go right here. Because if you look at this spot, that, my friend, is that spot right there. These guys end up being these spots equal to the number of sigs I want in the end, which for this is 3. So I already know that my final answer is going to look like this. There's my first digit 1 through 9 in front of the decimal. Now comes this game you have to play to get the proper number of sigs. We want 3 for this answer. Well, there's your first one. Here's your second. Here's your third. And again, rounding, you'll use it every single time. It's going to drive you crazy. There. That 3 is where I'm playing the rounding. Now, that 3, I noticed 2 things. It's a 0 to 4, so it's not going to change that 9. And I also know I am playing the rounding game to the left of the decimal, which means it turns to a 0, but I only need 3 sigs in the end. So that 3 does not touch that 9. It would turn to a 0, but I already have my 3 significant digits, so I don't turn it and keep it to a 0, because now I have 4 sigs. So you can't do that. Hey, you're ready. You're ready to finish this, and what you would do now is simply go, yep, sucker, I moved the decimal. That's the symbol that it's been moved. You have to play a counting game. 3, 6, 9. So there's 12 spots, unless you want to count every little loop. There's 12 spots with that decimal. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It took me 17 spots to put it right there. I moved the decimal to the left, which means that's positive, which means right here it's positive. Now, the calculator is not going to throw in the positive. They expect you at your level to know, okay, if nothing's there, then it's positive. And I didn't put the unit, sorry, but there's going to be some, heck, I don't know, kilogram or something in there. Okay. That's if you shove it to the left. Obviously, let's take a look at one where you shove it to the right. But I think the most important thing for you guys is when you do shift it to the left, boy, you better find that last number 1 through 9. That's the key to the whole placement of the decimal. Let's shift the decimal the other direction and see how this shows up and complete the final answer. I think the hardest part about these is writing stupid examples, because there's all kinds of zeros. What am I on, number 2? All right, here you go. There's a decimal. I'm simply spacing these to help you quickly count by 3s how many spots. All right, let's do this. Let's go 7, 9, 3, 8. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say it's millimeters. And let's say you have to turn this thing into 3 sigs in your final answer. Now you're moving it to the right. The rule changes. When you start moving it to the right, it's not the last number 1 through 9 you're looking for. That's only when you move it left. You move it to the right, you are now looking for the first number 1 through 9. So if I ever start moving to the right, I start scanning and I find that very first number 1 through 9, and there it is. And then I'm going to move that decimal and I'm going to place it directly behind, because that is this spot. These will occupy these spots according to the number of sigs I need in the end. So the decimal has to go right there, which means I'm already at that point. Second thing I do, okay, I need 3 sigs. Well, there's my first. I need second, I need third, and there's got to be some number I'm going to use for rounding. Got the 7. Hey, the 9 is going to be tucked in here. The 3 is going to go here. And then here's that spot that I use. It's an 8. There's my rounding number. 8 bumps the 3 up to a 4. But for this rule, when you're rounding, you've got to be careful. You are to the right of the decimal, which makes it actually an easy rule. You would erase him when you're done. Don't put a 0 there. Erase him. So this 8 bumps that 3 to a 4. I'm done using that 8. It's to the right of the decimal. He's gone. 1, 2, 3. Got my 3 sigs. Here comes the symbol. I moved it to the right. Negative. And now I count the number of spots. I don't know, some people like to do this. It's up to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Took me 17. Did I have the same number before? Took me 17 spots to place it there. Put the 17 there. And don't forget the unit. That's it. If you did know this already, good review. If you didn't, hopefully it polished up your skills. You will definitely be using this quite often. So you know where I'm going to go next. I'm going to throw an example on the board. Good luck, and then we'll compare answers. Any questions before I give you an example?
No, I'm good.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured. All right, let's go. Let's go. One example. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's go 9, 8, 9. Yeah, you know what's coming next. A whole bunch of stupid zeros. Let's say it is kilometers and oh yeah, okay, I'll be nice. Let's go 2 sigs. All right, get that thing into 2 sigs. Okay, decimals here. Might not be there, you might not see it, but you know where it's at. Okay, moving into the left. Boy, once I go left, first thing I do is I find that very last number, 1 through 9, the farthest one away, which is the 9. I'm going to plop that decimal right here. So I already know it's that. What do I need? I need 2 significant digits. Well, here's 1, here's 2, here's that I don't know spot. So the 9 was here. The 8 has to go here. This 9 is the guy I need to use. According to the rule, 9s round up, rounds him up to a 9. Once I'm done, he's erased. So this becomes a 9. Symbol that the decimal has been shifted, and now the number of spots. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. And I went to the left, which is positive, leave it alone, drop in your unit.